Let's all go to the lobby, lobby, lobby. Let's all go to the. Let's all go to the. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the. Let's all go to the.
What is up, Brewskis? We are back at it again. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. We're doing the One Reel In podcast
Holy
again.
shit.
And not only that, but it is also Not So Sober October. Yeah. It's going to be a rough one.
Heavy breathing.
Yes, but if you didn't notice what's on our desk today, we watched actually a movie that came out last year, technically, which I didn't know, but apparently did the film festival circuits and came out in 2022 in the Adelaide Film Festival in the land down under.
Yeah.
It's a little movie called Talk to Me.
Talk to me.
Talk to me. Yeah, is it both our, or not both, all our first time seeing this movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got some thoughts, but before that, we should probably talk about what we're drinking tonight for our very first Not So Sober October of the year.
Oh yeah, bucko.
Show them.
Guys, we got a big one from Sideward. It's the Bring Me the Bones. Bring me bones, not the bones. Just bring me
bones.
any bones.
Any bones you
bring
got.
me a bone. A BBA Imperial Stout with guava, chocolate peppers, and vanilla. And as always, there's no cold read.
No, of course not.
Not with Sideward.
But it is an 11.5% ABV.
Whew.
So,
And it's kind of light considering what we've done on this show before. So we're
I
starting
agree.
it off. We're tapering up.
yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Well, we had this discussion off mic, but we never allowed for meads in years past. We may start dipping into meads this year.
Okay.
It seemed like cheating, like we wanted to keep it to beers. It's almost like, why not include a wine then
Yeah,
if we're going
yeah.
into mead,
Yeah.
And then we might as well just start drinking fucking whiskey.
right? Yeah.
Which
I mean,
Okay, good do that. It's not the worst idea.
oh no.
I mean, we aren't really beholden to beer on this show.
It's true.
We have to do a bit. We don't even review the beers on this one, so we don't have to do beer at all.
You're not.
Could just get a nice bottle of whiskey.
You're not wrong.
All right, we'll table this discussion.
Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah.
You should ask the viewers what they want.
Yeah, what do you guys want us to drink? How do you want us to suffer on this podcast? But with that being said, let's open her up. As I do that, I should say this is the directorial debut of two directors, actually, Danny and Michael Philippou, also known as Raka Raka. YouTubers, actually, by trade.
I was about to say they have a stage name for their directing.
Millions of subs. You've probably seen some of their YouTube videos in the past.
Raka.
Yeah.
Raka, mate.
And like I said, it premiered in 2022 at the Adelaide Film Festival, October 30th. So anniversary coming up soon. That being said, the budget was a measly $4.5 million. Worldwide, it made $88 million.
Yeah, good
Wow.
for them.
Yeah. Which is the second highest grossing of any A24 movie, second only to Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of good buzz for Everything Everywhere that propelled it past.
Oh well, I'm not surprised that
You're surprised to Talk to Me.
I'm surprised that Talk to Me is their second highest grossing film.
Yeah. I would chalk it up to the good reviews and the fact that people come out to see horror movies generally.
Yeah.
Like
True.
they're just so popular.
Well, and it was smart to do it during Halloween season. Why all these fucking movies that come out in like July and August?
Right.
Like, what do you? I mean, you're asking your film to die.
Yeah.
A24 built it. I mean, they pretty much like built themselves on horror movies, though. So it's just kind of
true,
strange
yeah.
that like this one
Really hit.
would be, yeah,
But it's also after A24 has already garnered that.
the reputation.
Uh-huh.
Oh, here's
So
the
you
new
s-
A24.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I would have seen it in theaters probably based off of that new A24 horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it looked good. The trailers looked
Yeah.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's an original premise. It's
Yeah.
not the same old haunted house or murderer or whatever.
It's
you know?
an
Interesting
original
concept.
take on possession,
Yeah.
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 making it like a house party and making it like obviously a metaphor for drugs and all
Sure.
that stuff.
Well, let me get into that.
Yeah.
Because I have a plot synopsis for you off the top of my head.
All right.
I did help myself by writing down the character names.
That's good.
So here we go.
You have to do them all in Australian accent.
Mia. Mia. Well, we have Mia, who's our sort of a protagonist in the movie. I should back it up a little bit. We have sort of a prologue at the beginning of this movie where we see a guy frantically looking through a house party for his brother, and his brother's locked up in a room. He breaks down the door, finds him. He seems like he's in bad shape. Kind of seems like he's tweaking off drugs or something.
Yeah, and he has like a lot of like bruises and scratches on his body. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. And, I mean, almost immediately, the tweaked out brother stabs him and then himself.
Yeah.
And we cut. The story in general centers around Mia, who is sort of distant from her dad and who has no relationship with her mom because her mom's dead. We don't know exactly what happened, but
Her mom's dead.
apparently she took too many sleeping pills. There's some discussion in the movie about whether it was on purpose or not, but regardless, she's dead. We I think open up on her death anniversary. Mia's having a tough time with it, not talking to her dad. She has a very close friend named Jade, who is kind of like she's been adopted into their family. Jade has a little brother, Riley. Long story short, they go to this popular kids party. One of the main attractions of it, which has kind of started to go viral.
Why would you say long story short when you know this is going to be a long story?
Well, I'm trying to cut myself by saying that. They end up at this party because they want to see this spectacle firsthand.
Did you write that down?
I didn't. It's off the top. But there's this like embalmed porcelain hand that has a bunch of writing on it, and apparently it allows people to become possessed by spirits. So, you know, some people don't believe it, some people do. Mia wants to try it out. She puts her hand up to go ahead and give it a shot, and does it, and she really likes it.
Johnny, I think he likes it.
The problem is she went over time because you're only allowed to do it for 90 seconds. If you do it any longer than that, supposedly the spirits can stay. So, foreboding, obviously. Mia ends up getting sort of haunted by the ghost that took over her and starts seeing visions and stuff like that. And wants to do it again, though, because she really liked how it felt to be possessed. And so they and Mia and Jade end up devising a plan to have a house party and have the hand come out again so she can get another go at it. They have a good time. They get handsy, if you will. And
You didn't write that one down?
no, I didn't. And after they do it a couple of times, like, you know, Jade's boyfriend has a bad time with his trip, and everyone laughs at him for making out with the dog. And then Riley, the little brother, wants to get his shot at it because he's curious about what's going on. Now, his older sister doesn't want him to do it. She leaves the room, though. And, of course, they let him do it. The only problem is Riley gets presumably possessed by Mia's mom. And so Mia essentially forces his hand to stay on the hand for longer so she could continue talking to her mom.
Hand-on-hand action.
Yeah. That doesn't go well. He ends up trying to pull his eyeball out and smashes his head on a table.
It was, for me, the most horrific part of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Reaching into his own eyes.
Yeah. So this sets off the sort of inciting incident that turns things for the worse. And Mia becomes obsessed with the hand, with being able to talk to her mom again. And, Riley and Jade's family essentially blame her for Riley being in the hospital now and essentially comatose. Anytime he wakes up, he tries to kill himself.
But we know he's still possessed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so Mia steals the hand, continues to talk to her mom, and long story short, her mom, who is obviously a spirit in this, gives her visions and says that the only way to save Riley and to kind of end it all is to kill him. So she hatches out, or I should say, she accidentally stabs her dad in the neck because she's having visions. Goes to the hospital, tries to kill him by pushing him into traffic. We don't know whether she threw herself into traffic or if she was pushed by Jade. But Jade gets there at the nick of time regardless.
Yeah.
Mia gets hit by a car, and then we get into sort of this afterlife section where Mia's walking through the hospital, sees that Riley's doing better now. Apparently, all you have to do is kind of let time go by and the spirits leave your body. Mia's dad goes up an elevator, which I've seen some people say is not literal, but actually him dead and going to heaven, and she's in sort of this purgatory. And other
That
people,
would be weird.
other people say
I get
it's
that,
literal.
though. I
Yeah.
get that.
Sure.
I mean, he probably died. He was bleeding out from his neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. But then is she seeing just visions of all these people in her life, or is she actually walking through the hospital? Because that wouldn't be very consistent if he was there as a vision, but they were there literally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I suppose, but I don't think it's as literal because obviously time has gone by for Riley to be feeling better.
Right. So we're seeing. So she's having a vision.
Yeah.
Well, we don't. I mean, she's dead. So
Right.
what I'm thinking is, the afterlife kind of, folds space time as a spirit, and you kind of just see everything as it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like it's abstract time because then, of course, we end with kind of all the lights shutting down and it getting dark and it's just her. And then you see the candle light up and a hand extended and somebody saying, "Talk to me." So that's it. That's the movie.
One thing I didn't put together until I read the synopsis again was at the end when she's about to push homie into traffic. Her mom says to her, "We'll have him forever."
Yeah.
And that's the reveal that she's a malevolent spirit,
Right.
not her actual mom.
Right.
Which I didn't put that together.
Oh, yeah.
I was very confused at the end, thinking like,
Her mom's kind of a bitch.
yeah, like what's going like
Because they tell you that the spirits can impersonate other people.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
just didn't put two and two together. Like
Yeah.
I just
And something that I picked up on too is that whenever, like, the further along that we get in this,
kind of a bitch.
the further along we get in the story, the more the mom spirit looks worse and like looks wet and is kind of like gurgly, which the spirit that she saw when she first put her hand on the hand was like a bloated, drowned lady from what it looked like.
And that was the one who possessed her.
Right.
And then she sees her again in the bedroom. And then she's the one sucking the toes.
Yeah.
Man, we just
glazed over that.
Yeah.
There's
that
only
was
so
that was also pretty horrific.
that was pretty disturbing.
there's only so much time, you know. I can't go over every detail.
We'll
Just
get back-
watch
we'll
the
get
movie.
back into
It's
it,
Yeah. But yeah. I like it's one of those movies that the more distance I've gotten from it, sort of the more I've been able to reveal in rethinking about it. Like, it feels like there are more layers and it's a bit more well thought out. It's a movie that I definitely want to watch again.
Yeah.
Now knowing like what's happening.
Yeah.
And the twists and things like that.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
No. It's a good movie. It's a rewatchable. It is.
Yeah.
it's rewatchable.
It
Yeah.
is.
So that being said, you know, we like to sort of start here with nitpicks, things that, you know, you may not have loved as much as you were hoping to, or that kind of hold it back in any way.
Yeah.
The floor is open, my friends.
I know I originally had thoughts. I should have fucking written them down.
You know, I honestly, I mean,
Oh, I do remember one. Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna.
well, I was just gonna say, like, honestly, like, well, I mean, you know, not to say that it was like literally a perfect movie, but there's no glaring issues off the top of my head that I was like, that doesn't work, you know.
Yeah. I agree with that. This is we're picking nits.
No, that's true.
We're
That's true.
nitpicking. So
That's
it's
true.
like if it's any little thing where you're like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take you out of the movie. Like for me, it was immediately the idea of possession being this euphoric feeling. I would have wanted that, I guess, a little either explained more, or just like a scene to kind of go in depth of like what it feels like, why it's something that they continue to do. You know what I mean? Because it is a very original take on possession movies or possession as a concept. And this is the first time I think I've ever seen a movie tackle it in a way that like it's, you know, if you can balance it right, you can get
It's
this
like
like
cool, like this amazing like high or
yeah,
something.
yeah, which I think is like a really interesting way to go about it. Kind of sets it apart from pretty much every other possession movie, wherein you get possessed and it's the worst thing that could happen.
Well, and possession in most other media is something that happens without, you know, the person willingly being
Right.
possessed.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
it's almost like an accident or like just something that happens to someone, as opposed to like, I am giving consent to the spirit to come into my body.
Yeah.
You know.
That sounds
Yeah, I know. I regretted. I regretted that verbiage as soon as I said it. For me, I wasn't bothered by that as much, just because I felt like, especially until like Mia explains how it feels, like, you know, she's glowing or whatnot. I took it as more of like, it's like a thrill. You know, like, it's scary. It's fun. It's spooky. It's like, you know, people are doing it, you know, teenagers are doing it because it's something scary to do and like crazy.
It lasts for 90 seconds. Can you
Right.
like,
Yeah.
face up to it?
Yeah. That's what it seemed like to me. And like, that's really why people are doing it. And then on top of that, like, the allegory of it being about drugs is even more apparent, because not everyone, I think, feels that euphoria. I think Mia did, because like she just had that sort of gene in her that, you know, wanted to do it more and more. And it's because her mom is dead and she wants to talk to her again.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a really good analogy as far as like addictive personalities, or like some people can try something once and get absolutely hooked on it, and other people can be like, oh, it was fun at a party, you know, a couple of times, but not for me.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, I think that kind of helped me to not need more of like a visual representation of what it feels like to be possessed, because they show it like.
I mean, yeah, and the more that I thought about that, because I had that nitpick like the first time we watched the movie, and the more that I thought about it, the more like that montage scene kind of does that. I guess.
Yeah.
So like the more that I think about it, I'm like, it's not really the point of the movie, so like, I'm not gonna harp on it too much. And that I guess that montage was enough.
Yeah, and I get the feeling some of the reason why they didn't do it was probably because of the tighter budget. You know, you're not gonna have like a big CG thing of like, her body's glowing and all this.
No, it was smart to
stuff.
like with a budget that tight to use it only on like
practical effects.
Yeah, which was smart.
Which worked really well.
Yeah.
Like it looked really good.
Looks amazing.
Yeah.
$4 million budget. That movie looked like it was. I mean, at least it's gross.
Oh,
at
for
least
sure, yeah.
an $80 million movie.
Yeah. Shot
Like
well.
they man, oh man.
Especially for being like the first major movie these guys have done, it's really impressive.
Yeah, but I mean,
from
that's
that
the thing though.
perspective.
You give talented people just a little bit of cash and a little bit of access to things, and they'll show you what it's like. I mean, I hate to go down this lane, but it's like the Marvel movies. It costs $250 million to make, and you're like, it's not on the screen. And then you tell me that this movie had a $4 million budget, and I would have. You could have given me all day to guess how much this movie cost, and no point would I have gone that low.
Yeah.
No way. Lowest I would have gone was maybe 10 to 15 million. There's
Sure.
no way I'm going below $5 million
Yeah.
to make this movie.
Right.
It looked amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're still nitpicks now. Okay, let's stop praising, please.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck this movie.
I'm trying to pick some nits.
Yeah, I mean the only
Here.
thing for me is that it wasn't as scary as I was
Yeah.
expecting it to be.
Yeah,
It wasn't. It wasn't
Yeah.
scary at all. Really.
No, I mean there were frightening moments.
There were two parts that we have already mentioned.
Yeah.
that I would consider scary.
Yeah.
But overall, the movie, not to say like it was bad.
Right.
It just
Well, no. There was the moment with the lady before the toe sucking part, right? When she's in the corner. That whole scene. Okay.
Yeah.
That shit was
That-
fucking
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
That was scary.
The shadowy figure at the corner of
Kinda
the
like
room.
I had that. Yeah. You get that shiver, and I smell like, feel cold. That was creepy.
Yeah. There's definitely like creepy scenes and moments.
And the
but-
first time you see a spirit, it's a bit of a jump scare, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the first time she does it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
and
kinda
it shows like what she
flips-
sees like
yeah.
real quick,
Yeah.
and
You're
it's
like,
like, oh my gosh, what
Ooh.
the heck?
Yeah, but other than that, it really wasn't a. It was closer to a, not a psychological thriller, but like a supernatural
thriller.
I mean,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
considering it a horror movie is almost a little bit of a stretch. It wasn't really.
No. It's
You don't think
certainly-
so?
I mean, the way I see it, if we're talking genre, is like horror is the top, and then it's the umbrella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Okay.
then under it, there's like the different subgenres.
Okay.
of horror.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think with horror movies in general, there needs to be a higher body count. Technically, in this movie, there was one.
There needs to be death.
Yeah, I'm just
Well,
saying, kill more people.
I mean, in The Exorcist, there's I think one body,
Two.
two.
Yeah.
Ooh, good point. Yeah, but The Exorcist is way scarier though.
It's true.
It just is. It's just a scary
Yeah, no,
movie,
it's
so
true.
it balances out. Talk to Me is not that scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though it's not super jump scary, especially, I think the concepts involved are scary.
Yes.
I think that it kind of stuck with me more than something like, a more like jump scare laden Blumhouse
Yeah.
movie would have.
I mean, I really am not a huge fan of jump scares.
Oh, yeah.
It's I think they need to be used sparingly.
They're cheap.
They're
Mm-hmm.
cheap.
They're cheap.
I'd rather like that sense of like slow dread, and this movie does reasonably well.
Yeah, I think so. I think everything having to do with Riley, especially,
Yeah.
it really set the stage for like there being high stakes and like there's a lot on the line. And again, like having Mia as our protagonist in this was really interesting because she becomes the antagonist in a way.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So like
it's a very interesting arc.
yeah, being on the ride with her as opposed to like Jade, her friend, which would ordinarily I feel like be the hero of this thing,
Yeah.
was interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I didn't like though? They kind of flipped the genre on its head a little bit. You got all the white people making the smart decisions, and you got the only black person in the movie going, "I don't want to, I'm gonna hold the hand longer. I'm gonna all kinds of stupid shit that a black person would be like, I'm not doing that." And you got the only white people, and they're like, "Don't touch it anymore. Like, what are you doing?"
It's because they're in Australia.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything
it's upside down.
It's
yeah.
Oh, and then of course, I mean, this isn't a nitpick because it was by design, but the main, I forget her name, but the main cool kid
Oh yeah.
was such an unlikable
Yeah.
Yeah, they sucked.
Yeah.
So much. Yeah.
which I can't call a nitpick because I'm sure that's intentional.
Sure.
Like
Yeah. That
The
was-
cool kid.
Yeah.
cool kid.
Yeah.
It was like so over the top cliche.
Yeah.
Cool
Yeah.
kid, like
Bully.
sitting on the hood of the car, smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I wonder if all of that was like supposed to be like, we're gonna lean into some tropes a little bit because like it's just funny to us and
Sure.
like it's entertaining. If not, like you could look at that as a nitpick because I mean,
There's like, oh, let's make this the cool.
yeah, because like you again nitpicking, but like. These are not the people that I would be like, I need to go to this party and hang out
Yeah.
with. They
Hang
seem
out
like
with
the
them.
shittiest fucking
Yeah.
kids. I'm like, fuck them. I don't want to hang
But
out
I
with
think
them.
it's because they are the cool kids, Like it seems like Mia's looking for a place to belong, and
Yeah.
she seems like sort of an outsider character.
Yeah.
She has, a loving family, and her dad is trying, but she's kind of pushing him away.
She's
and-
an outsider because she's mourning her mom, and they're like, she's a weirdo because she's still harping on this like death thing. Like, oh
Get
my God,
over
your
it.
mom died.
Yeah.
Okay, Jesus Christ, it was like a whole year ago. Like, let it go, dude.
yeah,
God damn.
yeah. So I think that's why they make them.
At one point, she even says, she's like, "Why did you bring her?"
Yeah.
She's like,
She's such a bummer.
yeah, and it's like she's mourning.
Literally on like her mother's death anniversary.
It's like, don't bring her around. She sucks.
I don't get it because like it's implied that she has like a bad reputation.
Yeah.
Because like she used to smoke pot or something, but like I don't know why that would extend to the cool kids thinking.
Yeah,
she
you
was-
would think that they wouldn't, like, she'd be friends with all them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is high school, right?
High
They're all
school,
in
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think that there is a bit of an arc with the cool kids after what happened to Riley, because they all seem to like come together to try to help when they realize like, okay, this has gone too far.
Yeah.
And I did appreciate that because they're not just like these absolutely like heartless
It's like
monsters.
who was actually like that in real life?
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
yeah. So I did think that they had a bit more characterization than they even really needed to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the main bully or cool kid or whatever, they're really good. Everybody's really
everyone's
good.
really
Everyone's
good.
really
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think especially the shout outs for me are Mia and Riley, played by Sophie Wilde and Joe Bird. I think that they were really like tight anchors of the movie.
Yeah, they were great. Riley's friend kind of fucking sucked. Maybe it's just because he sucked as a character that you're like, fuck that kid. Man.
Oh, he was supposed to be like the
douchebag.
comedic relief.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
He was supposed.
a little dickhead.
Actually, I know we're still on nitpicks, but like,
Well, let's transfer. It's okay. I feel like we've gotten most of them out now,
Yeah.
and we're automatically going into our plus column here. So let's just do it.
Yeah.
all right.
The pros. Yeah.
So, well, one of the things that I enjoyed about the movie is, especially in the first act, they did a really good job of like establishing the characters and having these little character moments.
Yeah.
Like the conversation with Riley and the friend when they're waiting to be picked up.
Yeah.
That was just, I mean, completely inconsequential to the movie.
Yeah.
But it made you like Riley.
Right.
Kind of got a sense for like, you know,
Empathize with him a little bit.
empathize with him a little bit.
Yeah.
And like when Mia and Jade are like chilling in their room, there's those few scenes of them, and you know, and I mean, it felt like the conversations to me at least felt like pretty real.
Yeah.
You know, using like a lot of like Australian slang and stuff, and it kind of gave me a sense that like, you know, it's just it kind of helped you empathize a bit more with the characters. So then when things started going, you were a little bit more invested
Yeah.
in it. Then it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, these are the stock kids that are going to get killed by the end of the movie. You know?
Right.
It was a very authentic movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
for
very.
sure.
It was like you could tell the people making it, you know, speaking of like the budget and so you can tell that they really cared about making it as good as they could.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody seemed really grounded. And that's always good when you horror movies, one of the things that always takes you out of them is how unrealistic the characters are. So the best thing that you can do, which is what some of the best ones, the best modern horror movies have done, is lull you into this sense of like, this is just a normal movie with normal people, real characters, and they make real decisions. And then when shit goes left, now you kind of go, I get why this happened, because all these people are like real people that I feel like I could have met at some point.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about The Exorcist. That's a perfect example of
Yes,
that, where
yes.
it's like the first half of the movie is just like, you know, life
Yeah.
in suburbia, and like everything's fine.
The girl's sick, and it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you saw that tweet about somebody was saying like, that's the beauty of like the best horror movies is like, everybody always praises the moments like in Jaws or like or The Exorcist when it swells and you get these big moments. But the reason those moments are so good is because the prior 45 minutes to an hour of the movie was like creating this world for you.
Yeah.
And now you're sucked in, and now it's like, yeah, those moments are buoyed or
Buoyed.
Buoyed?
Bayoued.
Buoyed.
Yeah.
Buoyed by
Speaking of Jaws.
the everything that came before that.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, so like The Exorcist again is a really good example of that. Like, I mean, we rewatched it recently and I was surprised at how much of the movie is just like a normal movie about
A family.
Yeah, it's just like,
well, because that's what it. See, the best horror movies are like same thing with like science fiction in my mind. Like they're the best ones are allegories.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like what is it that we're actually afraid of?
Yeah.
It's not the ghost. You know, it's you know, The Exorcist. You know, is it the, you know, the fear of a mother losing her child, you know,
Yeah.
or, you know, or it could be a stand-in for like puberty or something, you
Sure,
know?
yeah. Losing faith.
Losing faith, you know, all that stuff is rolled up. That's what the movie's actually about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the father who has to regain his faith to confront this. That's what the movie's about. You know, this movie's about, as we were talking about afterwards, and we kind of hinted at, like, I see it as like an allegory for using drug use to escape pain.
yeah.
Right.
And then how that can backfire if you get lost in it.
Sure, yeah. Because, again, the spirit that she was in communication with wasn't her mom.
Wasn't her mom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It just
'cause her
felt like
mom's
it.
gone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not there anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just goes like, yeah, you can find like temporary like balm over your pain if you know, indulge in whatever you're indulging in, but it's not going to remove that or fix or like fill it back up in your life.
Yeah.
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 And so I feel like any horror movie, if they have something like that, a theme or a focus that they're actually trying to say, then it's a lot easier to like build a good movie around it than
Right.
just being like, oh man, we're gonna have this guy killing people because it's a horror movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's just get everybody in the house and then let's start killing people. It's like, that's not why do I care about this?
Right. Yeah, I mean, and there's a whole subgenre of movies where it's just like, how high is the kill count?
Yeah.
But those movies don't really stand the test of time unless they're like,
I mean, they're fun.
really
Sure.
good.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
yeah, they've got to be really good. I mean, we've made, I mean, what, thousands of horror movies that are just based around how high is the kill count.
Yeah.
Unless it's just really dumb fun, you know.
Yeah.
You really, like horror movies excel. Horror movies and sci-fi movies, like you said, like those are the two genres where like they excel when there's a message there, they're trying to say something, and they're using the genre as a vehicle for that thing. Like the original zombie movies were always about something more than just
Zombies.
undead. Yeah.
Yeah.
They like George Romero was always like trying to say something.
Yeah, famous
with,
for doing
uh,
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that, I mean, but that's what makes those original night movies like so good. It's like there's not even like it's not even until excuse me the third one that like you get really gory, fucked up zombie kills.
Yeah.
Right. And then Return, obviously, but I mean, just Return's so good.
It's really good. Yeah.
Love that movie. We should do that.
Brains.
I would love to
Yeah.
do Return.
Return of the Living Dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not officially.
More bring.
Yeah. Silly.
Stupid. Bring more paramedics.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you've
it's
never seen
so
it?
Good.
Oh my god.
It's a good
Rob,
time.
It's so good, man.
It's such
so
a
good.
It's such like
so
a
good.
punk movie too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
It's just this dumb, silly '80s movie. I mean, it's where like you see zombies in pop culture where they're going brains. That's where it came from because they didn't
Okay.
talk until this one.
Okay.
Ah man, you gotta watch it.
Yeah. It's a good time. It's a good time.
But back to Talk to Me.
Yes.
Talk to me.
Talk to me. I would say my other than the acting, which we've already talked on, I thought the practical effects were really, really good.
Yeah.
Especially now considering the low budget, like they
I mean,
really stretched
even
their
more
dollar.
impressive.
Yeah.
Now knowing how little they spent on it.
Yeah, and just like all the makeup on, just for example, just Riley, like when he's in the hospital
Yeah.
and stuff. I mean, that whole scene
Bro.
when he's possessed.
Dude,
my
when
God,
he
yeah.
that's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
Oh,
is
yeah.
when he, is when he tries to kill
probably
himself.
the most. Oh god! Oh, you mean when he's in the shower, or like when he first gets possessed?
When he first gets possessed,
Yeah.
he starts smashing
Yeah.
his shit on the fucking dresser.
the
I was
dresser.
like, God
It's-
damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
When he shoots back in the fucking oh
Yeah.
man, that whole
That-
scene
it was great.
is so good.
Yeah.
It's intense.
So
Yep.
good.
And talk about foreboding, because like it's coming. You know something as soon as they're like, oh, he wants to try, like
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
where
Yeah.
shit's gonna go
Some
south.
shit's-
Don't
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And so you're waiting, and it's been building up this whole time, waiting for like the bad thing to happen.
Yeah.
And so it delivers.
Oh, it does.
some people, I mean, like again, I understand like it's what it's an allegory for, but it's just like it drives me crazy that this girl would be like, yeah, go ahead,
Let the
you
kid
know?
do it.
Yeah, give him a try, you
Yeah.
know.
But-
Everybody else is like, that's a bad idea, and she's the only one who's like, come on, get in here, get possessed for a little
Even
bit.
the terrible, bad, cool kids.
Yeah,
are
they're
They
like,
were like-
are you sure?
yeah,
He's 11.
Yeah.
and then they were like, fuck it.
Yeah. Well, I think that they did set that up though with us having a lot of time with them two together. You know, showing like
It's kind of a bond.
yeah, and she tries to be like the cool sister essentially.
Yeah.
And on top of that, obviously she had a really good experience doing it. So I think that kind of lowered her inhibitions for letting him do it.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah.
First of all, I would never in my entire life even.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Because so that's the other thing about like this movie in particular. Like with other possession movies or horror movies, it's like we were saying earlier. It's always like an accident, or it's always like, oh, this person is
Victimized by
weak
it.
in spirit, or yeah.
Yeah.
So those things are kind of unavoidable. But this movie in particular is like, I guess that part is the thing that kind of didn't take me out of it, but it was one of those things where the whole time I'm watching it, I was like, I mean, there's just no way on God's green earth I'm going to a party and I'm watching people get actually. I watch
Possessed.
their eyes go black and they start talking in different languages and different. And I'm like, oh, that's real. You know what I'm doing after that? Going to the church, and I'm saying, what 7 Hail Marys?
Yeah.
I'm getting down on my knees, and I was like, I was wrong this whole time. I was wrong, and I'm sorry.
You're not even Catholic.
Exactly.
Just bathe in holy water.
So there's no way I'm going back to a party and being like, yeah, that looks like fun.
Yeah, let's do that again.
I know exactly. That's how I felt like when I encountered like the ghost. Like
Oh, I'm
Well,
so
you
glad
know,
you
well,
brought that up.
We have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
we,
yeah.
we do have to talk about it. Yeah.
we'll get to that, but I'll say like afterward, like because we'll talk about that but like afterwards I was like,
Kind of made you rethink some things.
yeah, oh yeah, it did, yeah, it did.
You'll tell that we'll do that as like an epilogue.
Epilogue, yeah.
of
All right,
the
all right.
episode.
Don't make it too climactic. It's not like that intense of a story.
No, but it's
Rob has proof of
it's
the
gonna
afterlife.
swell. I'm gonna write some music for it.
But anyway, what do you guys? Is there anything else that like really stuck out as supreme in this movie? Why you might recommend it to others?
I mean, we said it, but we didn't say it in this context. But I would recommend it to people because of how original the plot is. It's something that like, it's such an original take on possession, like we've said already. But like it really struck me like horror movies. I mean, they're a dime a dozen now, and the good ones really stand out, and it's because every time you see one that is really good, you go, "Oh, you can still do that."
Yeah.
Like,
Still room for innovation. In horror.
I mean, Jordan Peele and fucking I always forget his name. Homeboy who made Midsommar and Hereditary.
Ari Aster. Yeah.
There are two guys who I know that these are the popular choices to pick, but it's for a reason. Like Nope, Get Out, Hereditary and Midsommar. Like they're like really original movies.
Yeah.
And it's just something where you're like, in 2023 to be able to watch something and go, I've never seen that before is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You think that you've seen it all, and then somebody comes up with something that's original, and you're like, that was smart. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
I'm glad somebody else made that movie that I can watch it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think, like, I agree with you completely, but looking at the user score for this movie makes me really pessimistic about, like...
Oh, is it low?
Innovative horror. Because it's, like, middling. It's, like, 3 out of 5.
See,
People probably want more jump scares.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's like...
People have gotten this weird... expectation of horror movies.
Well, it's the whole thing that we were talking about before. Like, people walking out of the theater going, it wasn't even that scary.
Right. We've talked about this a lot. When you watch a movie, a good horror movie, but it wasn't like jump scary or wasn't, and then that's people's reactions.
Yeah.
It's like I the whole time I wasn't even scared. It's
Yeah.
like, really?
Well, good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, you're tough.
Yeah.
I bet you wear shorts when it's cold out too.
Right. It's the
It's
same
not even
people,
that cold.
Same people that go to like horror nights, for instance, and they
Yeah.
don't get scared by the scare actors. And it's
Sucks.
Like, it wasn't really that scary. It was just
Yeah.
kind of like I was like, fuck you, man. Fuck you.
No.
I just don't have any tolerance for people like that anymore. If it's a bad movie and it was not scary because it was not done well,
Yeah.
that's one thing.
Sure.
But to watch a movie like people have said that about Hereditary, and I'm just like, I don't get how you can walk out of there not being like unsettled
Unnerved.
by
Oh,
what
yeah.
you watched. It's a very unsettling. movie.
Hereditary is, to me, the scariest modern horror movie.
Yeah.
It just, even upon rewatch, and I know everything that happens in it, like, I feel bad watching it in the way that I feel like I'm supposed to while watching it.
Yeah. I mean, every time you rewatch it and you see another white person in the corner, some flabby white person like hanging onto the ceiling or like in the corner of the house, you're just like, I didn't see them the first time I watched this movie. God damn it.
Grandma, no. Yeah.
It's the way I feel about It Follows.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
I make original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like never would have, and another smart movie that like uses STDs and youthful or the losing of innocence and things like that as like a metaphor, or using the movie as a metaphor for those things.
Sure.
Like super smart.
And like it's amazing how much horror you can get from literally somebody just walking towards you.
Seriously, yeah.
It's like there's a part in the movie that I remember is like legitimately like
Bro.
made me jump.
Oh, yeah.
And
Bro,
it's
super unsettling. Like the moments in the movie that like went viral are scary. Obviously, like the big dude coming around.
Oh, my God.
Door.
Dude, that shit scared the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, Jesus Christ. But the moment, like, there's a moment where she's like, she's in school and she's looking out the window
Yeah.
and somebody's like walking across the street, and it's still, I'm just getting chilled down my spine now as I'm talking about it because it's just so unsettling. It's like
He's standing there
it's
menacingly.
menacing. Yeah. It's anytime people do things that normal people don't do. it does something to like the psychology. Like you have a certain expectation of society, and
It's
when
like-
people do things outside of that
Yeah.
expectation,
It's like an uncanny valley thing where
Yeah.
it's like that could be normal, but it's not.
right,
It's
right,
something off.
Like it ain't. I mean, these 33 years I've spent on this earth, I've never seen anything like that. Why is
Yeah.
he standing like that? Why is
Right.
he walking like that?
But it could be just a person walking across the street. You don't know.
Could be.
Yeah.
That's why it's so weird.
Exactly.
I'm gonna let her out. You guys keep talking.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, so the other day we were talking about the Flaniverse on Netflix, and I heard it's not that scary criticism about Haunting of Bly Manor.
Okay.
A lot of people were saying that from what I was reading online.
Sure.
Going, oh, it's not that scary, da 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 da. But I was like, honestly, I felt actually, well, it's not as traditionally scary as say Hill House or Midnight
Right.
Mass. I was kind of actually more emotionally affected by the finale of
Yeah.
Bly Manor than I was by Hill House. Haunting
Yeah.
of Hill House.
Well, I think Bly Manor, to go off on a little tangent, it has more of a sense of dread. It feels like.
yes. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely felt that more of like almost like a mourning. Like it felt. It just there's something.
I know what you mean.
Like heavy about it.
pulling you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dog is stealing a shoe.
Yeah, she took my crock. Bitch.
My flip flops are sitting over there too, so it'll probably happen.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Anyway,
Right.
we're good.
So I think we can wrap it up with a score out of 6 bottle caps. Marco, what would you boil down? Talk to me.
I'm giving it a 6.
6 out of 6 bottle caps.
Other than like the weird, like little, nitpicky things that we said towards the middle. I mean, when was the last time we had a nitpicking section where we just had nothing, basically?
Shrug.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's move on.
Yeah.
When we did Avatar, it was pretty much all nitpicking.
Yeah.
And then, like in the last 10 minutes, we're like, "Oh, we should say some good things about this."
That's how you can tell.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So is officially Talk to Me better than Avatar in the Way of the Water?
I mean, I enjoyed it more. I'll say that. I definitely enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 6 out of 6 bottle caps. I can't find any fault in the movie. I think it's an achievement when it comes to the budget versus how the movie looks. It's well acted. It's original. I don't know what else you could want from a horror movie or a movie in general. And anybody, I don't know, man. Taste is subjective, obviously, but
Sure.
if you're walking out of this movie and you're like, I'm just like, you don't deserve to enjoy things. Fuck
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You don't enjoy movies.
Yeah, you just don't. People don't really enjoy movies anymore. The film bro discourse online
It all has to be this
Yeah.
critical eye sort of thing.
yeah.
Just looking for things to hate about it.
Yeah.
We could spend an entire episode of this podcast just like dissecting people's like obsession with being smarter than the movie or being smarter than the audience that consumes the movie
Sure.
or likes the movie.
Yeah.
Like all these people who don't like Marvel movies, there's so many things to dislike about Marvel movies, but some of the stuff I see online is just like, all right, well, now you're being a dick about it.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
there's so many problems with these movies, but like the shit that you're saying, just like, you
Yeah.
just sound like a douchebag.
It's a superiority complex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, feel however you want to feel about movies. Enjoy the movies that you want to enjoy. But I just feel like if you don't like this movie, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to recommend to you because I think this is a fantastic film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say, I'm gonna say 5 out of 6
Okay.
bottle caps because I pretty much agree with everything you said, Marco. Just it's like I'm not like texting people going like, oh my god, you have to see this movie. For what
that's
it
a good
is,
point.
for what it is, a low budget horror movie. It was really good.
That's
Yeah.
a good point.
And I enjoyed it. I think it's good. I really respect everybody involved, and
Yeah.
I think people should see this and enjoy it. I'm not going to give it the full 6 out of 6, but I'm going to say 5 out of 6. I will say the person who played Mia kind of reminded me of someone I used to date, which I didn't really know how to feel about that. But that was just kind of like, in the back of my mind the whole time. But 5 out of 6.
Takes it down one ball.
Yeah.
I you know, that's a good point. I'm not going to change my score, but that is a really good point because there are other movies that I have walked out, some that I said already that I left and thought like I need to tell everyone that I just watched this movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't feel that way about this. I guess it doesn't exceed the heights of, you know, some other ones. Like, I mean, like Jordan Peele movies, for instance. Like, I was just like, everyone needs to see these. This needs to be taught in school.
Yeah.
I need everyone to know that this exists. So that is a good point.
Yeah. I'm going to split the difference. I think it's a 5.5 out of 6. And the only reason why I'm docking it a little bit is mostly because of hype, I have to say. I was a little... disappointed is too strong of a word, but I definitely felt like it was supposed to be scarier than it ended up being based on the reception it got. A lot of critics, I should say, were saying like this is the scariest movie of all time, you know, like things like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah,
That's
Yeah.
an insane thing.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I didn't really see any hype for. I mean, like I heard about it as much as any other movie you hear come out, but
Sure.
I'm not in the film circles as that you are.
Yeah.
I did see some hype about the scene, the first scene when she gets possessed, when she does it for the first time,
Yeah.
and it just kind of like looking back now, it's a good scene. It's engaging.
That's great, yeah.
Good sense of dread building up because you know something's gonna happen.
Yeah. With the brother who kills himself in the beginning, the sort of prologue of the movie, what are we led to believe about that? Why did he do that? Why do they kill themselves?
Because he was seeing the visions. He was seeing other ghost spirit visions because he was possessed, like Mia was by the end.
Right.
Okay, so all right, I guess I'm trying to connect the dots, and maybe it's super simple, and I'm just overthinking it. But Riley kills him or tries to kill himself every time he comes to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he trying to kill himself to alleviate the because we see the vision of him being tortured in limbo, right? Is he when he comes to, is he fully in possession of his own body and he's trying to, or is
No.
it the spirits
No, it's
who are trying to
spirit.
make him kill himself so that they can
That's
hold on?
it.
Okay,
Yes.
So when the brother kills himself in the beginning, he is somebody who lost. He succumbed,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
spirits took him.
Yep.
Right. That's what we're okay. All right. Okay. I wasn't overthinking it. I got it. I'm
Yeah.
smart, guys.
There you-
I
there
know
you
how
go.
to watch movies.
So
I got
proud. Yeah. So, with that being said, I think we're going into our epilogue section,
Yes.
known as Rob's Ghost Story.
Let's set the scene.
This is a true story, folks.
Okay, so actually, background actually for all you listeners out there, the reason that your regular hosts asked me to be on is especially because a few months ago I had a somewhat ghostly experience, and it really kind of shook me because my whole life, you hear people talk about ghosts and things, and you're always kind of like, da 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 da. And if somebody really asked me, like, do you believe in ghosts? I'd be like, well, maybe like there's some sort of after image. I don't know. Who knows? But whenever you hear actual stories about people saying stuff, part of me was always kind of like, yeah, I bet,
Sure.
you're thinking that there's got to be just some sort of like explanation,
Rational
or
explanation.
people just psych themselves out or something, But what happened to me? It was like I wasn't like out of it or something. Like I was coherent. I knew what was going on, and there was just like no explanation for what had happened, other than like a spirit or something. Okay, so here's the story. So setting the scene. So my partner's parents live in Lake Nona. For those who don't know, it's a bit southeast of Orlando proper. Just newly really developed. It formerly used to be very rural, from my understanding. So the house that they live on, it was originally built that they live in. It was originally built as a hunting lodge in the middle of the 1900s, back when there was nothing out there.
Yeah.
And people would go out there and stay there for a few nights as they hunted in the surrounding woods. Over the decades, the house was built out, turned into more of like a residence. So this property is 30 acres. House is there. It's gated. It's a nice property. But so anyway, so the parents were out of town for a couple weeks, and she was staying there to watch the dog that was there. And so I would spend some time there during that period. And one night, this was a weeknight, mind you. So it was only about 11 o'clock. We didn't do anything crazy or wild. Actually, what we were building Legos.
That's pretty crazy or wild.
And listening to some music.
To me.
And then it got to be about 11. We're like, oh, let's go to bed, right? So, so the room that she was staying in was not her room when she was a kid. That was in the downstairs and has since been converted into an office. Mm-hmm. This is essentially just the guest bedroom upstairs. That is the de facto bedroom she stays in when she stays there now. And so the upstairs is there's a wooden spiral staircase that pretty much like is right there when you walk into the front door, and the spiral staircase goes up to a landing at the top, and there's just two rooms. There's her sister's bedroom, which has a bathroom attached to it. Her sister doesn't live there. She's an adult. And then the other bedroom.
Okay.
And they just face each other. The doorways face each other across this little landing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the bedroom that we are in is over the the front porch.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a window that you can look down and see the front porch, right? And the bed is against the window facing the door in the landing. Okay. Go to bed. and the little dog, Menchie, who actually unfortunately a few weeks ago passed.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest
to
in
Menchie.
peace,
Yeah.
Menchie. But so Menchie, a long-haired dachshund, is up on the bed with us.
Harry Wiener.
Yeah. And so we're sleeping. And so we're not sleeping. It's maybe 15, 20 minutes pass. I'm not asleep yet, but really kind of settling down, getting comfy, and so I'm laying there, and all of a sudden I feel this, it's hard to explain, like the air pressure in the room gets like dense. Like I feel like it, like the temperature doesn't change or anything, but there's like this weird, like almost like staticky feeling, or like not like the best way I can describe it is it feels like the pressure gets like denser.
Okay.
And the dog Menchie kind of like shifts and like makes a little like moan sound at first, and so that happens, and I'm like, and then like it's just like a second or two. And then outside, like right below us on the porch, I hear the sound of women's voices. Like and I can't tell if they're like on the porch or like coming in the door. But like there's no sound of the door, but like I hear like women's voices for like, I don't know, like 10, 15 seconds, and they kind of fade away.
You can't hear. You can't make out what they're saying.
No, because it's like outside, but like you can hear, it's, da da da. Like maybe I caught a couple words, but it wasn't anything like super coherent. But it sounded like voices, and then it kind of fades away. And I sat up because, to mind you, we're there alone. We're on a property that is literally gated,
Yeah.
and we've been there alone all night. I know we're the only, and I sit up, and I say, "What the fuck was that?" Because it didn't sound like when you hear like a voice through like a TV or a radio, it kind of has that somewhat like electric quality to it. These just sound like voices. And my partner she goes, "Oh, you heard that too?" She goes, "You heard you heard the voices?" I was like, "Yeah, what was that?" And she goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. Like, go to sleep." And I'm like,
Bitch, I'm worried about it.
yeah, I'm like, no. Wait. What do you mean? Don't worry about it.
Huh.
Well, what was that? And she kind of just like shrugs it off. And I was like,
First time.
yeah. And I was like, what? And then I was like, no. What do you? And I kind of like pushed her, and she was like, oh yeah, like sometimes, especially upstairs here, I hear voices or sometimes like music. And I've just learned to like ignore it.
Huh.
And I'm like, what? And so she eventually like falls asleep, and I'm sitting there, a little unnerved, thinking like I'm listening out, and it's just like dead. It's an empty house at night,
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So I kind of like lay back down. And I'm sitting there, and I eventually like some more time passes, and I'm just like, I guess it was like, I don't know. I guess it's just one of those things, whatever. And I close my eyes again. And I'm laying there a bit more. And so probably, I can't tell exactly how much time passed, maybe like 30, 45 minutes since we heard the voices downstairs. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like the air pressure thing again. And then right outside the door, like on the landing, either on the landing or like on the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
That you can see from the bed.
That I can see from the bed. I hear, as plain as you can hear my voice right now,
mm-hmm.
a woman say, by all means. Like, on the, and like when you hear like a voice like in a stairwell or something, it kind of has that like echo quality,
yeah.
But it's like it takes up like physical space, like in the space, like that's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
It was a voice, and it was kind of like it was like like when you hear somebody go down the hallway and like their voice, you can't really hear it, and then you catch like a snippet of the conversation, and then it goes
trails
away.
off.
It's like right there. It goes, by all means. And I like literally go into like fight or flight because I like shoot because like my first initial thought is there's someone in the house.
Yeah.
So like I like freaking like shoot up, and I'm like sitting on the bed, like looking out, and of course there's nothing. It's completely still,
mm-hmm.
completely silent, nothing. And I'm like, Rob, like, there's no one in this house. You've been here all night. It's locked up. So I'm like, and then Menchie, like you can't, like it sounds so cliche, but like I swear to God, Menchie just sits up, turns, looks up until it's just like the corner of the room and starts like barking.
Oh no.
Like frantically. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Menchie, please stop. And so like after a couple minutes, like he stops. And I'm like, so like in the moment, like I said, like there was no rational explanation for what happened.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I could think of was like, there's a ghost that just said something
mm-hmm.
that I heard right there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I can't. I literally like maybe got like an hour of sleep.
I was gonna say, did you get back to sleep?
I almost left.
Yeah.
I almost left the house.
Yeah.
I almost like woke Tex up and was like, I'm going home. But I was like, not gonna do that. First of all,
Mama ain't raised no bitch.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's like, what? You're gonna leave like your girlfriend here like with these ghosts? But
Good
apparently
luck.
she's fine with it.
Yeah,
so,
she's used to it.
And so I'm just sitting there, and I'm like terrified that like something else is gonna happen. It's like because I was like, it's escalating. Like, am I gonna see something?
Right.
Am I gonna hear something else? Like, I'm freaking out. So I'm like sitting there, like hours pass, and nothing else happened. Oh, okay. So about like an hour, like I said, hours passed. So I'm sitting there, and like about an hour after I heard her say, "By all means," I start to feel like the pressure.
Oh
again.
no.
And out loud, I don't know. I got just like I go no, and as soon as I say that, it dissipates and goes away, and nothing happened. And I was like, either like I like literally the only thing I could think of were either I'm schizophrenic and I just had my first like episode, or there's a ghost.
Yeah.
And considering that I have not had any hallucinations since of any kind, I'm gonna roll out schizophrenia.
Yeah.
And so a little bit later, Texana woke up and went to the bathroom, and she comes back, and I was like, whoa, stop. And I explained to her what happened,
mm-hmm.
and she was like, oh wow, yeah, you must have heard oh my god, I forget the name. It was like Anna or something. I was like, she was like, that's the wife of the guy who owned this house before my dad bought it. I heard she was a really wonderful woman, but she passed. And she was like, I think like I've heard her before as well. And I was just like, what?
You know it's bad news when they have a name and a story behind them.
Something. You know how angry I would be with my girlfriend? I mean, I would be irate that you...
Oh, that's Anna.
Dude, that, like, I had to discover this
Good
shit on my
night.
own. You didn't fucking tell me this shit?
Yeah.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Like, I'm, like, as I was telling you this story just now, I got, like, chills, like, thinking back to it. Because I was just like... And you know, she was like, oh, well, yeah, you know, sometimes, like... Some old places just, you know, hold energy. And,
fuck that.
and it's really cool that you're, like, in tune to the world around you because not everyone is. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm feeling real special right now. Like, I got the shine, you know? Like,
Sick.
and so, like I said, I got, like, an hour
Can
of
I
sleep.
be listened to?
Yeah.
Can I just go to sleep?
And
Tune me out.
So the next morning, I'm driving to work, and literally the whole rest of the day, the next day, I'm just, like, sitting at work, just, like, re-examining my entire like opinion on the nature of reality because I'm just like I don't know I don't know how else to describe what I experienced
Yeah.
other than it was some sort of spirit, like, and it's because that's just not me. I'm a very rational person, but like reason dictates that in the lack of like any other evidence and having a corroborating story from someone who's lived there, like, so
Swamp
I guess
gas.
I believe in ghosts now.
was
Swamp
swamp
gas.
gas, yeah.
So I guess I believe in ghosts now, but like, and so then like another time a few weeks later,
You went back to the house?
The night there.
What's wrong with you? See, white people. This is the type of shit I'm talking about.
Well, here's the thing.
What an irrational thing to do from a rational person.
I didn't want to sleep in the room. I was like, I don't want to go up there. But I was like, I don't know. Maybe if I like make peace with things the way it is, like I won't be tormented. And that night, nothing happened. Nothing happened.
Okay.
Fuck that bullshit. That would have just been a mystery that I was going to have to live
with for the rest
I'd
of
be
your
like,
life.
sorry, babe, there's no way I'm ever stepping foot in that house again.
Yeah.
No fucking way.
So, yeah, that's my ghost story.
That's crazy.
Nice. Very,
But
very
It lived up.
good.
No, thank you.
That
Thank
was
Yeah.
fun.
So now, like, by all means is like the scariest phrase like somebody can like say to me. Yeah, that's giving me like flashback.
Well, yeah, like the it's like by all means, like they're like walking by.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
But it was louder than that. It was
creepy.
like regular volume voice.
Yeah.
Just like saying that.
if I heard that shit, I would have been out. I would have left that night,
It
definitely.
wasn't kind of like, oh, it kind of sounded like that, or did I hear a voice? I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. Like, no, it was just like
It's clear as day.
It was
Yeah.
clear as
like
day.
a person was standing right there.
Like a person said that.
Shit.
And the dog barked.
And the dog barked while looking at an empty corner of the room. Get out of here, man. Get out of here.
Even when I'm sleeping and Frankie stirs even a little bit, I'm like, stop. There ain't nothing in here.
What you
Stop
see, you don't see.
it. yeah. Keep that shit to yourself,
Yeah.
brother. I don't need you to change my worldview.
No.
Yeah, it's creepy.
That's very creepy.
That's an unsettling story.
I'm glad you guys like it.
Yeah.
You should make that a short story, and it's just called By All Means.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That is a good idea.
Yeah. It's a good creepy pasta.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
I'm upset with Tex, I'll tell you that. She buried the lead. She was like, hey, come out to this house. It's nice.
It's
We're going to have
cool.
a good time. And then
By the way, it's haunted.
But you had to experience that shit. And then she's like, oh, yeah, that's just Anna. Like, what the fuck do you mean?
She's
what are you
silly.
talking about? You mean you hear these things all the I hear music and voices sometimes. And she just rolls over and goes to sleep.
Well, it's been her whole. I mean, I
kick
guess
her out
I
the
guess
bed.
if you're like living in that house, in that house as a kid, you kind of have to like learn to like
Hell no.
deal with
Hell
stuff.
no.
Like
Nah.
what up?
Nah, it's straight up like I like in movies like Amityville Horror, or like I can't remember the other like house possession movie. Where they're
Poltergeist.
where they're like the story is, oh yeah, all these other people moved out because blah 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 blah, and then the one family that's like, that's silly,
whatever, yeah.
and they're the. I would be the first like 3 families that are like, fuck that. You like, I don't care how much it costs. I'm not paying rent in
Yeah.
this place.
We
I'm
are
not paying a mortgage on
uprooting.
this. We're leaving.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
Yeah.
And then the one family, that's Tex. She's the one family
Yeah.
that's like, well, we just make peace with it.
Yeah. It's a really nice house, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's a
Hell
very
no.
nice house.
Yeah.
Hell no. Hell no.
It's wild.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That was
Thank
great.
you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, anybody have any last words?
By all means.
Yeah.
By all means, everyone.
By all means.
This has been the One Reel In podcast. We will be back next week with yet another reel for ya. Even without ghost stories,
Yeah.
you're welcome back. Maybe get another one though. Yeah, we love you. We'll see you again soon.
Peace.
Peace.